got Team Cinch in the house right here. We're going to start off with the first-time NFR qualifier, barrel racer, Michelle Mcleod. Y'all give her a hand as she comes up here. Michelle, thanks for being on with us. There's your microphone right there. And next, calf roper coming to us with Cinch, 8-time qualifier, Justin Maass. Give him a hand. What up, Justin? Thanks for coming, buddy. Number 3 right there. And 3-time NFR qualifier, header, Kaleb Driggers. Give him a hand. Yeah. Caleb. There we go. Thank y'all for coming. Is everybody's microphone working right there?
1, 2.
All right. Perfect. Perfect. Michelle, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
First time to Las Vegas. How's it going? You made it through your first round last night.
I did.
How was it for you? Start with the grand entry. How was all of it?
The grand entry was great. It was a lot of fun. It's a little crazy, and I had a good time.
Right, sure. Good. Justin, you've been here 8 times. I'm sure it's exciting every time you make it to the NFR, but talk about a little bit last night about your run and all that. You were a 14 on your calf. But tell us about your run last night.
Oh, I didn't get off to quite the start I wanted to get off to, but I got her tied down, and we'll work in the right direction from here, hopefully.
But at this level, that doesn't bother you. I mean, that's the first round.
No, you know what? Last year it happened to me in the last round. I'd much rather it happen in the first round than the last round. So we'll regather, and it'll get better from here. Yeah, I think I seen somewhere you placed in 4 rounds, 4th in the average last year, something like that. Coming in this year, is there any different game plan or, something you do different? Or? Well, last year I came in winning the world, and just I really probably roped a little bit more safe than what I would normally rope. Right. Just because I thought, if I can get a few checks here and there and win good in the average, I got a good chance to win the world. Well, this year I'm so far behind that I got to try to go at every one of them. Right, and that's kind of a different plan. So I know you like to be on top, but do you feel – like this year, maybe nothing to lose kind of deal? I mean, you can go for it. No, not really, because the thing about it is doing what we do, we come here, this is where we have to make a living. Yeah, so there, you don't get the pressure taken off necessarily because, last year I did have a little bit more money in the bank when I showed up here, so it made it a little easier, I guess. But you still have to try to win all you can win here because this is our Christmas. Right, sure. Kaleb, last night y'all were 17 on your steer, and I would like to think it's kind of the same deal. I mean, I know you want to win them place, at least, but talk about your run real quick last night.
Yes, sir. I had a steer that fought the chute pretty bad and wouldn't ever stand up, and he halfway got to the front, so I went ahead and called for him, which I probably shouldn't have, and he hit his horn and kind of fell out, and I broke the barrier, and after that I just went and made sure I got him down. Right, and sure. When we practiced on them steers, nobody even called him, so. Right. So you didn't even get a look at him, really, huh? Yeah, we didn't get a good look, so I was glad to get him down and 9 more to go. Yeah. Michelle, I want to talk to you a second. You kind of made the NFR really the second half of the year this year, starting at Guyman or something like that. Talk about that. I mean, you got hot real quick, and you're on a roll, aren't you?
Yes, I did. I was really lucky. I've been a fraternity horse trainer and stayed at home. Right. Seasoned other people's horses, a couple that have been here at the NFR with some other riders. Right. So I was just used to staying around the house. Sure. For, seasoning these horses for these girls and then staying home. So when these guys approached me and said, do you want to go rodeo? I was like, well, we can just go to Guyman and see how it goes. Right. And when he jumped out there and won Guyman, they said, well, let's hit the road. And I said, you guys got to be nuts. Right, and so we loaded up and went for the summer, and I swore I'd be home in August, and it didn't work that way. We kept winning and kept going and got home the end of September. Well, congratulations that you didn't go home. That's good. Yeah. That's really good. Yes, it was very good. That's really good. Yeah. Tell me about your horse, Slick. We'll start with Slick. Okay. Talk about that horse and the owners and that kind of deal. And I know there's a lot of people interested in your 2 horses. Yes. So tell us about those horses. Well, he's a 6-year-old stallion by Designer Red. He had a good fraternity year. Didn't do much as a 5-year-old his Derby year. And they saw him win the AQHA World Show last year when he was 5, and they bought him right after that. He had a knee injury, and so he came back in March, and they called me because I lived close to them and asked if I'd start running him. I was entered at Huntsville, Texas on another horse, and I sold him the week before, and so I just jumped on Slick and thought I'd go. He placed last hole, but for a young horse placing at his first rodeo, I thought, wow, this is pretty good.
Yes,
so we loaded up and went to some in Texas, and then ended up going from there. So
right, sure.
he loves his job, obviously, and loves to be on the road, and he's done a great job this year.
Well, I've noticed last night, you know, here at the MGM, you know, the NFR's playing. You know, I didn't go to the rodeo, but when you came out, there was a lot of folks, you know, checking out and seeing how it was going. There's a lot of folks out there rooting for you and watching and all that. So
yes,
congratulations on making it. That is great.
Thank you.
Justin, tell us about the calves, you know, this year versus last year. Any different, anything like that? I noticed some guys in the first round last night, you know, one wrap and a hui. That's stepping out there on their first calf.
Yeah, well, these calves are a lot better than they were last year. Actually, they're quite a bit smaller.
Yeah.
The big pen, which is what we're open tonight, probably is very equivalent to the little pen last year.
Right.
They were a lot bigger, and it made it a lot tougher. You know, it was a lot harder to be fast last year. I think this year the calf roping is going to be really exciting. I mean, last night started off really strong, and then it kind of fizzled towards the end, which is unusual because, you know, when you got Cody and Tuff and Trevor and those guys right there at the top, I mean, they're usually going to just blast, and it wasn't really like that last night. It was a little bit different, but they're an awesome set of calves, and I think it's going to be a fun roping.
Good deal. Kaleb, the steers are different from last year as well, aren't they? Talk about that.
Yeah, sir. The steers are actually 3- and 4-year-olds this year, where in the past they've been 2-year-olds, and it's going to make it a lot different this year. I believe the times won't be as fast. There's going to be some really good runs made, but just because the steers are so big, and you know, it's going to take longer to stop them, and it's going to be a little bit longer. But I believe that more people's going to catch. I think there was only 2 headers that missed last night, which is very unusual.
Right.
I think last year over half went out in the first round. So I believe they're probably going to be, you know, more teams than the average this year.
Right. Could that be due to, you know, the size of the horns and wave offs, you know, versus smaller horn cattle, that kind of deal? Or I keep hearing the term old school, you know, as far as the steers this year, you know, I guess they're bigger.
And I think just because the horns are a little bigger, you didn't see nobody throw in the box last night.
Right.
They went out and caught their steer, you know. And when the horns are smaller, you can throw a little bit sooner and kind of hope it goes on.
Right,
but big horns, you kind of have to make sure you throw a good loop, or you're going to be fishing all the way to the back end.
Sure. Michelle, as far as this year, we're talking about you getting hot there and rolling. You have to win some rodeos, you know, to even make it to the NFR. Is there anything that sticks out to you this year? Is it all a blur, you know?
A lot of it's a blur, but I mean, placing second at Cheyenne was a big, I mean, I placed in every round, so I was thrilled with that. I didn't even know how much money I won. I just knew I placed, and I was excited about that. I kept telling myself, just place. Wherever you go, place. And I was fortunate to win quite a few rodeos, and I just kept telling myself, be solid and just get a check every time you go, and it worked out.
Oh, yeah, good. Justin, I want to talk to you about the score, you know, as far as scoring calves, you know, versus team roping. You know, you can kind of see them move, that kind of deal, and you're still, you know, maybe not going to get outrun. But talk about the score in this arena and calves and kind of what you have to see. Tell us, you know, kind of how that's working.
Well, my plan out here is always to just be on go as fast as you can go, and then if you have to react to a calf that doesn't leave or something, you just react and pull a little bit. But I'm telling you, here it's so fast that honestly, if you hit the barrier here, you think you broke the barrier.
Right,
That's how it is.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you're really close to them if you hit it. So that's kind of my game plan when I back in there, is just see how fast I can go and then react from there.
Right. I know the team ropers, you know, they video, you know, when they're breaking those steers in, videoing it, and, you know, they know as far as the draw, have an idea what their steer is going to do. Is it the same in the calf roping?
Well, yeah, it is, but the calves haven't been roped very much. Like, they got 2 runs back in Texas before Stace sent them out here.
Right.
And then we tied them out of the chute here, and we breakawayed them twice now. So, you know, 4 runs on a calf, really, they don't really have a pattern yet. You know, like the steers have been roped a little bit more. There's a little bit more of a pattern to them, so you get a little better idea. We keep lists, and we film, and we all do all that too, but you just, man, those calves, sometimes you turn the bright lights on, start that music in that building, and they may do something completely different. I mean, they're just like us. They're going to have a day where they're going to be really good, and they're going to have a day when, you know, just don't really feel like it. It makes it a little bit tougher.
Sure. Kaleb, I like to talk about stuff, you know, back to breaking those steers in. That's stuff we don't get to see. You know, it's kind of behind-the-scenes stuff. What was that, 2 days ago, I guess, that y'all did that?
Yes, sir. We done that on Tuesday.
Is it more of a, when you're breaking those in, is it more of a jackpot kind of deal? You're letting them out there, track a little more. I know you can't track far, but you aren't dropping 2 culls or anything like that, are you?
In the run-throughs, we get to run.
He always does. Yeah. He throws 2 culls
in the run-throughs, we get to run about 8 steers. So we'll normally run the steers down as much as we can. The first, we run them through twice, and we run them 4 times. So, right. We'll probably run 5 or 6 of them down and make sure, and then a couple of them we'll let go and let our healers get a realistic go, right, and see what it's like.
Sure. Michelle, as far as, those guys breaking in steers and stuff like that, do the barrel racers, do they get to come in and, first time here, take a look at the arena, that kind of deal?
Yes, luckily we had a practice on Tuesday morning, so I got to take both of mine through.
Right.
The other mare, Sky, I actually never even made a run, just went through slow. She's a little bit younger, trying to judge the alleyway and how you come in. She got a little bit anticipated coming through that gate, so figure if I have to call on her, I needed her to be where I wanted her to be when I came in. And with Slick, I went through once slow and once kind of medium just to try to find that first barrel and go from there. So for me, I was glad they offered that to us, because never being in the pin before, it made me feel a little bit more comfortable.
Absolutely. Do they play loud music or anything like
No,
that?
it's real quiet, so it's not exactly what you're going to run at. But fortunately, being at some of the other rodeos, you hope that they're okay with all that noise and everything, and he seemed to handle it fine last night.
Sure.
So.
Well, I wanted to let everybody know that we're streaming live right now on NRSworld.com, and we're here with Kaleb Driggers, Justin Maass, and Michelle Mcleod. Justin, when let's say I'm team roping, something like that, or heeling, always, every time I'm back in the box, I got to say I got to be aggressive. I have to stay in the front of my saddle. A lot of people would say somebody, at y'all's level, that you don't have flaws, but you do. Is there anything that when you back in the box, you have to tell yourself, this is what I got to focus on?
Yeah, when I back in there, it's pretty much just remind myself to ride my horse, because I tell you what, I've been very fortunate to have some great horses that probably knew their job better than I knew their job, so I didn't have to do very much, and it kind of made me take that for granted a little bit. So now when I back in there, it's just instead of thinking about throwing and stuff like that a lot more, it's think about really riding my horse and being aggressive, because then that turns into an easy throw.
Right, sure. Kaleb, talk about your healer, Travis Graves. We all know next year you and Patrick Smith's gonna rope together, and I think you and Patrick later in the week are going to be up here, and we'll get more in depth and talk about that. But talk about Travis Graves and healing for you and how that's gone, the last couple of years.
Yes, sir. We actually paired up in March, and we hit it off at a bang. We went probably a month. We won $25,000. Right. It was unreal in California. Hardly anybody does that. So then it just kind of kept rolling from there. He's a great guy and easy partner to get along with, and I appreciate him being my partner this year.
Absolutely. Last year, you came in second. You were $1,200 behind Chad Masters to win the world. Did you walk away from here thinking, man, I'm glad I got that close? Or as far as being a competitor, did you walk away, I can't believe I lost, not lost, but I was, behind just by $1,200 out of all the money won throughout the whole year?
Yeah, sir, you have a little bit of both. It was only my second NFR, and to come that close, you can't hang your head in the dirt and be upset with yourself, but at the same time, being a competitor, you want to win it. So it was a little bit of both, but I wasn't too upset.
Right, sure. I know there's a lot of people, you just mentioned, it's your third NFR. There's a lot of, I hear a lot of people talking about, that, you'll win that world, no problem, as far as the amount of money and the accomplishments you've had, just being your third NFR. But while we're talking to you, you've got a new video out. You and Clay Trine and Jade and Patrick Smith. Tell us about this new video right here. This thing's pretty hot.
Yes, sir. It's a pretty unique video. We had 3 different cameras. We had a drone, which is actually a flying camera. It can go all the way up to 3,000 feet, and it can follow the run. And we had a slow motion, high definition camera as well, and it slows it down, and you can really see the angles and watch. And then we also have some mental game in there, and I'd like to thank Cinch for making that possible for us.
Right, sure, absolutely. And you can get this video. Is it out already? As far as you know,
today.
You know, oh, today. Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. That's a pretty hot little item I got here then, isn't it? Michelle, as a kid, you know, I came to, believe it or not, my first NFR, you know, to watch, you know, 4 years ago, something like that. As a child, did you get to go to the NFR? You know, did y'all do that? Or?
No, I didn't grow up with horses.
Right.
Yeah, I ended up riding as a kid and was out riding. Sure. And I didn't start running barrels until I was 18.
Right.
So I didn't do college rodeo or high school rodeo really, and just decided that I wanted to make it work, and I loved training horses. Right. So I got into the training and started training fraternity colts full time, and then would take them to the rodeos to season them, and then here we are now. You're never too old to,
right, exactly.
to come to the NFR.
To do what you want to do.
Yes.
Justin, when you were growing up, you know, who'd you try to imitate as far as your style of calf roping? Who was hot and winning the world? You know, who'd you used to admire watching?
Man, I tell you, when I was a kid, when I first got interested in roping, I was 12 years old, and that was the Joe Beaver era, you know, and he was, I tell you what, I kind of tried to do things like put a group together, try to pick out the guys that did each thing the best. Sure. You know, I wanted to try to rope like Joe and flank like Brent Lewis, and you know, I mean, it was just a group of guys. You know, tie like Jerry Alley. I mean, that's somebody that hardly nobody remembers.
Yeah, sure.
That was the group of guys that I kind of tried to emulate right there and do like they did.
Right.
And it wasn't just one guy all the time. It was just I tried to pick who did everything the best, and I tried to do it like them. Unfortunately, I didn't ever quite get to where I could do all of them, but I mean, it did work out eventually. So
you're here. Good deal. Kaleb, Brad Culpepper had a lot to do with you, you know, as far as influencing and stuff, you know, growing up. Y'all grew up, you know, roping together and that kind of deal. Talk about him a little bit.
Yes, sir. I was actually a healer until I was 17 years old, and then I got around him, and I had a little bit, and he seen me practicing and stuff, and he kind of just talked me into amateur rodeoing, and then we done really well amateuring back at the house and decided to come out here and give it a try.
Right. Good deal. Good deal. Well, guys, I'm not going to keep y'all real long. I appreciate y'all coming today. And before we leave, I don't want to forget to do this, but this is brought to you by Cinch. Talk about Cinch as far as your sponsorship and what they've done. You know, Michelle, we'll start with you.
Cinch is a great company, and for us, for Cruel Girl, it's awesome to have these clothes and all this stuff to wear, and I'm just very thankful that I'm able to be with them and wear their clothing.
Yeah, and Justin, I've heard people talk, you know, without sponsors, you know, and I know each one of y'all have several, but it'd be tough to go down the road without it.
Oh man, they mean the world to us, you know, and anybody that tells you that they can go rodeo all year long, I mean, just like this year, I was 8th in the world. I've won $78,000. I probably spent $80,000 trying to win it. So
diesel.
If we don't have sponsors, I mean, there's no way for us to do this. And Cinch has been great. I signed with Cinch first in 1999, and then everything kind of changed hands, and we ended up parting in probably 2002.
Right.
And this is the first year I've been back on with them, and I'm telling you, it is so wonderful. What they do for us as cowboys and cowgirls is just it's beyond anything you can imagine. So they're pretty awesome.
Good deal. Kaleb, what's the game plan tonight? You know, we talked about just a bit ago you were 17. Do you do anything different tonight?
No, I'm not going to try to be too. Well, I come out here this week trying to be aggressive and catch all 10 steers, so I'm going to stick to my game plan, and hopefully it works out.
Good deal, good deal. Everybody, if y'all would give a hand for our Cinch team up here, Kaleb Driggers, Justin Maass, and Michelle Mcleod. Guys, thank y'all for joining us up here. It means a lot to us.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.